So welcome, our beloved, brilliant colleague, Amma. We so appreciate your consistent leadership and solidarity and your steady commitment to community economic development. And as always at Setsi, we begin all things by giving thanks and acknowledging our creator, by giving thanks to the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We acknowledge all our ancestors, all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So, Amma, can you please introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers and share a bit about your remarkable work?
Thank you, Victor. It's such a pleasure to be here, and I love that introduction. It just brings a beautiful spirit into the room, and so thank you for doing that. My name is Amma Sefa, and I lead an organization called Impact Investing Ghana. And we're really working towards moving money to places where it can have the most impact, as well as make a profit. And we go about that through a number of interventions that I'm sure we'll be talking about. It's a great delight to be here.
Indeed, indeed. Since the day I met you, it's always been a pleasure connecting, but more importantly, seeing how committed you are to advancing this work and advancing the way capital flows to those that need it most. And more importantly, harmonizing the demand and supply side of capital. So my question to you right now is, what's inspiring you right now in your current work? What has you curious, or what's keeping you up at nights?
So I think what inspires me is faith. I believe very strongly that each of us is here for a purpose, that there is a divine movement that is moving us towards more equity, and that is moving us towards a beautiful earth where there is abundance, there is family, solidarity. And when I say family, I'm not talking just about biological ties. I'm talking about brotherhood. And I believe that in the slice of time that each of us is on this earth, the choices we make contributes to that amazing future. And so that is what inspires me. I want to add my piece to this mosaic that is sort of bending towards that beautiful future. And I'm also inspired by the stories of people that have come before me, especially my parents, my mother, and just seeing how they used their gifts to be of service to whoever they had in front of them. And so I have this opportunity in my generation to be able to contribute to shaping financial systems. And it gives me a lot of joy to see that happening. And that's what inspires me.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for all those incredible warm sentiments, but not just that, the context in the background. I appreciate your leadership and your candor as always. So my next question, what challenges and barriers do you face in your work? And what are some of the approaches you and your colleagues are taking to overcome some of these challenges and barriers?
So the main challenge when it comes to redesigning our world is I'll borrow a term from the Criterion Institute, which is an organization that I work with sometimes, is the lack of imagination, our inability to see that things can change and that change can be beneficial, not just for ourselves, but for everyone else. And so what we're trying to do at Impact Investing Ghana is to unlock local capital to flow to small and medium enterprises, especially the medium enterprises that have the most potential to grow, and to build those enterprises so they can deliver sustainable jobs, not poor quality jobs, not exploitative jobs, but sustainable jobs. And that hasn't happened before. There is a $5 billion SME financing gap in Ghana. But we also have a pensions industry that is a little larger than that. We have a beautiful culture of community giving and supporting that could be the foundation for an angel investing culture that is not, a repeat of Silicon Valley, but a way of building community and building up community for the next generation that sort of is rooted in the traditional culture of apprenticeship. And so I see these, I imagine these things, and I can see them happening, and not everybody can imagine them. And sometimes when you work hard at them and they are not quite coming to life, it can get discouraging. Then some of the challenges are internal. So when we started this work in 2021, no pensions were interested in thinking about alternative assets. 3 years down the line, we have pensions investing over 100 million into a venture fund. We have a fund of funds for pension funding that a fund manager has been appointed. It's going through regulatory approval. It's a lot of progress. And as you begin to build the field, what happens is that other organizations enter the space and begin to work. So I won't call this a challenge, but I see that we need to, because we're building a market, we need to see other initiatives not as competitive, but as complementary, and forge partnerships that can make the pie bigger, that can make all the initiatives succeed, because we're building a market. We're nowhere near a point where the market is full and we can say we're competing. We're building a market, and it's a hard market to build. So you kind of need all hands on deck. And yet, because a lot of the private sector is rooted in thinking around competition, forging those things, and because our human nature is also, we kind of like to get the applause. And so you need to fight it in yourself and share the applause, give it away sometimes, to be able to create something bigger than one person's legacy. And so for me, those are the challenges. I fight with it internally, sometimes with a team. You have to say, yes, this narrative maybe doesn't quite celebrate our contribution, but that doesn't matter. Let's look at what we can do together and focus on that, focus our energies on that. And so these are some of the challenges we come across. Of course, there's also convincing people to move the money. But I find that when you've got these pieces in place, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time, and then the money begins to move. It starts as a trickle, but if you want to have authenticity in that move, you want to have true impact, not impact washing, then what you need to keep your eyes on are the values with which you're forging these partnerships and being intentional. So for example, with the fund of funds, we built the impact measurement and management system first. And we were very blessed to have partnerships with development finance institutions like FMO Ventures, the Development Bank, and whilst traditional DFIs may not invest in something like this, they could support from the technical assistance. So forging a partnership like that, understanding that in the current world system, they have constraints, and so they can't be as innovative as we would like. And yes, we'll be advocating for them to be innovative, but let's find something we can do together so we move this shared goal forward.
Ashe. I love the work that you do and the way you're structuring creative models to redistribute resources. It's just truly phenomenal. And once again, it's very hard to hack pension funds and institutional investors. So the fact that you've been able to pull that off here is truly a testament to your tenacity, your resilience, and your clear passion for this work. So my next question, do you have a set of key priorities right now in your work that you'd like to share with us?
Absolutely. So, I mean, the first thing and I've spoken about it already, is this really groundbreaking fund of funds. It's one of the first in Africa, designed for local pensions, not international investors, to unlock up to $75 million of local pension funding, and to profitably and with an eye on impact, invest them in both emerging and experienced fund managers. We're working on structuring, it's a blended finance, meaning that we're blending the pension money that's commercial with what we'll call catalytic capital, which is money that wants to have impact and is willing to take on more risk. And so one of our big priorities is putting together that catalytic layer, which will serve many functions. It will give the pensions confidence to join us in this breakthrough endeavor. It will allow the pensions who need liquidity to be able to come in and out of the fund. And it'll be doing many innovative things. We have a brilliant group of foundations that are supporting us in this work, but there's room for more. We are looking to include others in the group that really want to catalyze something new. And we want to capture the learnings from where we started up to this point and more intentionally share that across Africa and globally, to be able to show that these things are possible and to be able to learn from both the successes and the challenges that we face along the way. And so, those are two things that we're working on. In addition, we're just in the beginning stages. We've created some really excellent content for people who want to set up angel networks in the African context. These are networks based in community, say in a church, or in a village or a town, and it could be people in the diaspora coming together to form an angel network, or people who attended the same educational institution coming together to invest. And we're saying that angel investing in this context is not just about making money. It's about seeding entrepreneurial experience and skill sets that can eventually transform community, and coming alongside an entrepreneur, not to make a buck of them, but to be a person who brings their experience to enhance theirs and to increase the chances of success, so you can transform that community and make it into a thriving place where people can have jobs, etc. So it's a different kind of angel investing, because these are really early stage. Their businesses operating in very challenging circumstances. So if you don't come with that kind of mindset, and you come with a mindset to exploit and to only gain financially, you may end up, even though you want to have impact, actually becoming the exploiter. And we know that the entrepreneurial journey is hard, and that for many entrepreneurs, it's multiple iterations that will get them to the place where they have a business that is stable, good cash flow, and growing, where investors then can begin to make a return. So we're looking for people who understand this vision, who have disposable income, so they are not investing money they can't afford to lose, but who also have that belief that they plus a committed entrepreneur can lead to success. So those are two initiatives that we're working on. We're working on a few others, but I want it to be a bit of a dialogue. So I'll let you ask your next question, and maybe I'll find a way of weaving some of the others in.
Absolutely. So I know that you're working on a remarkable platform, a deal platform. And I'd love to hear more about that, primarily because by far, I've spoken to so many national advisory boards. By far, I feel like some of the greatest innovation in Africa in terms of this space is coming from Ghana. I'd love to know more about the deal room.
Thank you, Victor. It's actually a Ghana-Nigeria. You know, Ghana and Nigeria have this interesting synergy. So it's something that we've been working on with our Nigerian brothers. Ghana is a great place to pilot things. We're small and fast and uncomplicated. And Nigeria is a great place to scale things. And so this is a platform that connects businesses with investors and with transaction advisors who are seasoned professionals that can walk alongside a fundraising journey with a business and help them to be able to meet the requirements of the investors at every point in the process. And, you know, traditionally, you would have businesses trying to find a way to get an intro, to get into the pipeline of an investor. We want to make it easy. So we have a number of investors looking to invest in Ghana. It's an Africa-wide platform, but also across Africa. We have their requirements. Any business can go on to dealsourceafrica.co and sign up, and a deal officer will get in touch immediately. And if the business meets the selection criteria of an investor, they will immediately send either a teaser about the business or a pitch deck to that investor to review. So it guarantees you somebody is going to look at it. If you don't meet the criteria of any investor, they'll tell you, and you don't have to waste your time because you can see, okay, I'm not quite a good fit, but they may tell you, if you were a little bigger or if you were like this, you may be interesting. But the truth is that sometimes it's good to just wait to find the funding that's a good fit for you where you are. And the value proposition for investors is that it gives you pipeline that is actually meets your criteria and takes away a layer of the work. We do a bit of due diligence on the businesses, so you can know that this is a legitimate business that you're getting introduced to. And the transaction advisors, when we started this journey, we realized that once an investor was interested, then they'll begin to ask for things. I want a data room. I'm going to start due diligence, etc. And in a market where private funds, it's a very small industry, it was very hard for businesses to figure out how to do this. And that's one of the issues with finance. It's a very relationship-based industry. And that means that people who don't have those relationships to be able to get those insights can sometimes be cut off from capital. And so by bringing in skilled transaction advisors, you can bridge some of that information asymmetry and have more inclusion and allow more people who have not accessed capital. And we're in International Women's Month, and 3 of the 4 businesses that have raised money on the platform since we started are led by women. And again, it shows that some of these networks can be gendered in terms of who's in leadership. And it's really important to have marketplaces like Deal Source Africa where anyone can have access. So we're really excited. We'll be having some deal rooms this year in Nigeria, in Kenya. We have ongoing ones virtually throughout the year, and we invite entrepreneurs, we invite investors to sign up and to be part of building this efficient marketplace. There's a success fee model, so it doesn't cost anything to sign up, but if you do raise some money, then you pay us a percentage of that for us to be able to continue to sustain the work.
Such a brilliant model. And once again, it speaks to the remarkable innovation, but also the collaboration. As you mentioned, Ghana is a perfect place to test things out, pilots, experiments, and Nigeria is remarkable to scale. So once again, I appreciate all the insights and the wisdom and brilliance of this work. So my next question is, how do you feel about the future of impact investing in Ghana or internationally? Are you hopeful? Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? And how are you feeling about emerging fund managers?
I am so optimistic, Victor. We are just at the beginning of what I consider to be a revolution. And I see Africa's young people as a real asset, and this entrepreneurial energy and all this entrepreneurial movement we're seeing as a real asset. Once you can get money flowing in ways that make sense for both investors and businesses, it's just going to explode. So I'm really excited. Impact investing is growing in Africa. And we, last year in Cape Town, together with our brothers and sisters from across Africa, launched the Africa Impact Investing Group. It's a regional grouping within the GSG, the Global Steering Group for Impact Investing, which we're all a part of. And what that allows us to do is to come together, to work together on shared issues. So for example, deal sourcing, to be able to work with team members sitting in South Africa when we're doing our South Africa deal rooms, and that's what we did last year. To be able to engage with the Africa Union and to be able to engage with our sub-regional governments around policies that would unlock capital in a big way for our young people. And so we're really excited about this sort of milestone. And we believe that increasing collaboration, increasing learning, all the various countries are working on different financial vehicles. And we've been able to learn from each other. So Zambia is doing work with pensions with some learnings from Ghana, but because it's a unique place, they are creating new learnings and new knowledge that they're also offering into sort of this sea of knowledge so that we can also learn from that as we continue our pension engagement.
Incredible, incredible. Thank you so much. And yeah, my hats off to the Global Steering Group. As you know, I'm part of the Global Steering Group Task Force for the NAB that's being built in Canada right now. And there's so much learnings that we're gathering from the, I think, 5 or 6 NABs in Africa, and then other ones in the global south, like Peru and Colombia, Australia. So it is a global network that's doing some phenomenal work. So my hats off to Alistair and Atiano and Serrano Cohen and all those colleagues that have built a foundation for this work to be actualized. So my second last question, what is your ultimate goal and what does success look like and feel like to you and your colleagues?
So for us, if we look down the line 20, 30 years, we want to see a world where impact, you don't need to put the word impact in front of investing, that all investing in Africa is around, it comes with this whole value of community that is at the foundation of our original cultures, which says that if you are investing into something, you are borrowing from your grandchildren. And so you invest in a way that sustains the system, and that your humanity is based on the humanity of others. So you invest in a way that respects that. And so we want to have impact investing be just investing. So our pension funds are investing because it's the best thing to do. And we're moving there. And that's why we're working with institutional investors. We're not creating a niche industry. We are saying that all businesses should deliver sustainable jobs. All businesses should operate sustainably if they want to receive funding. All funds should have impact measurement and management systems. This is how business should have been in the first place. And so let's reimagine a form of capitalism where, yes, we compete and we allow that ingenuity to make us be more efficient, but we also respect the limits that are given us by the creator and by our world.
Beautiful. I couldn't agree more. That is the ultimate sound bites to amplify this work that's so important to so many and has such deep and lasting sustainable impact. So my last question, do you have any closing thoughts or calls to action for our listeners and our viewers?
So what I would say, and what I say to many people, it's so easy to get into the dream big, like all these big things I'm doing. But the truth is that impact comes from choices made every day. And so so I would say to anybody listening to re-examine your personal choices, the way you consume the conversations you have, and begin to shift them in a way that aligns with your belief that we can build a world where there's prosperity for all. And every time you realize there's an inauthenticity in that tension, shift a little bit more, whether it's responding with patience with someone who's annoyed you, or taking time to invest in a small business, or giving feedback in a way that builds up instead of tears down. So I would say that the moves are always personal. And even though, yes, we should come on board the big vision that we've shared.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Amma, for your consistent visionary leadership, your commitment to community economic development, and to broadening and really bringing a real sense of justice, access, inclusion, diversity, decolonization, equity to the global impact investing space. It's truly remarkable, and I'm blessed to call you my beloved sister since the day we met. We hit it off, and yeah, I just appreciate all that you do for so many. And as always at Setsi, we close all interviews or conversations by giving thanks and acknowledging our creator, by giving thanks and acknowledging all the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We acknowledge all our ancestors, all those who toiled without compassionate compensation. We acknowledge all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. Thank you so much. Malasi Papa, my sister.
Thank you, Victor. Such a great pleasure.